Hello and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and hanging out with me as always is
Rob Morphy.
Thank you so much, Robert. And
Creoles.
Creoles. Robert,
Yeah.
what do we have this week, friend?
All right, so it's going to come as no surprise to anybody that's followed us that we are creatures, kids of pop culture. Immersion in it is literally the foundation of who we are in many ways. And as such, I thought it would be kind of fun to discuss amongst us. And we've broken down, I don't know, ad infinitum pop cultural influences, but I don't think we've ever actually discussed this topic. And that is going back to, just your earliest days, Saturday morning cartoons that have influenced us, that caught our attention for whatever reason, that delighted us, that made me specifically, and I'll be getting into the story in a little bit, skip actual art lessons because I was more enthralled with the cartoon I was watching, and it ended up being probably the biggest influence on my artistic life.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
fair.
So yeah, I mean, we've talked about toys, we talked about a bunch of other stuff, and I mean, because it's intrinsic to us, beyond monsters and aliens and the paranormal and things that we love and things that we're celebrating all the time in our podcast. It is the pop cultural elements that we first bonded over and everything else, and I don't think there are anything more formative for a lot of us, at least for me, I can say, in the pop culture world than Saturday morning cartoons. So without further ado,
So, this is definitely my favorite. I still love it. And because of this cartoon, I quit going to judo.
oh boy,
Which I probably should have kept doing that because I had fun.
so that's a hallmark
Ooh.
of like I've already admitted to quitting art lessons.
Yeah. Not only was it judo that I quit, but I also dropped out of Sunday school.
Well,
So you were allowed to
I
drop out of
was-
Sunday
you dropped
school?
out of
was-
Sunday school for a Saturday morning cartoon?
You know what? Yeah, I had whatever I was doing for whatever it was your communion. Does that make sense? No, what was it?
Confirmation?
I did that, and then I had to go back to classes, and they were on Saturdays for sure.
Okay.
And I think it was for my confirmation. I'm almost
That
positive.
makes
okay,
sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's not Sunday
but why
school,
would they do it on?
technically.
Yeah, but I had Sunday school too at one point.
Because Sunday school is the continual, I don't know, evolution of learning about indoctrination.
Well, this
in
was the
religion.
year where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
judo.
that's all
I'm not
different
doing this
stuff.
church shit. I'm going to stay home and I'm going to watch the X-Men cartoon.
All right.
Yes.
Now we get to
That's
it.
exactly what did it. I'm like, everything stops. I'm watching the X-Men. Was I a little hasty in dropping out of judo? Yes, I probably should have stayed in. I enjoyed it and was actually very good at it. And probably by episode 6, I was like, okay, I maybe should have just stayed in judo. But regardless, I love that cartoon. To this day is one of my I love the theme song. I love the aesthetic.
No, it's a banger.
The storytelling in it is awesome.
What year about?
That had been
Uh,
early 90s.
It was it was
Yeah,
definitely
right.
like the early 90s. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
like for
But
sure.
that gets into a problem, not to cut in, because I started thinking about this too when we were talking about this, was that there's cartoons that things were just in constant rotation and in syndication.
Yes.
So there's
yeah.
a lot of cartoons that I'm like, were they on Saturday? And I feel like I just watched. A lot of these were after school cartoons that may have been on Saturday as well, but I
Okay.
just always
Yes.
watched them. X-Men I never watched in the morning. I came up from school. X-Men was on.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't
Was
a
that
Saturday.
the same cartoon? See, I don't know.
No, it was. But I remember it airing on Saturday mornings. The Power Rangers also aired Saturday mornings. But they
yeah.
also air afterwards. Conan. Do you remember the Conan?
Oh, vaguely.
The Conan cartoon that would air in the mornings,
Yeah.
and then I would catch it again at night. But Saturday morning cartoons were like the X-Men definitely, because I think it was on at like 11.
Right.
Because I remember having to I gotta be home, I gotta do this, and then I was like, clearly church is cutting into this, and I'm gonna have to leave early to go to judo. I'm not doing any of this. My mornings were very busy.
I respect that.
Yeah, very busy.
I mean, and I get it. Now, obviously, it's funny. The 8 years that don't mean shit now that we're all old men, silver-bearded fucking foxes, if you will, made a big difference. By the time the early 90s were around, I would long since forsaken getting up early for cartoons.
No, yeah.
I was sleeping in. And so
Right.
I never saw this. So I get that. I definitely get that. Do you want to just jump 1-to-1, or do you want to tell more of yours?
Go for
No,
it.
yeah, just
I'm going to go as old school as possible because, being the antediluvian one amongst the three of us. So obviously I was watching Saturday morning cartoons in the 70s.
Yeah.
Being a little
shit.
kid.
Golden era.
Golden era. But what I fucking was in love with, what changed, the thing that I eventually quit art lessons for, the thing that I was enamored of, came from an era even earlier, and they were showing repeats. And that is foundationally, number one, my favorite cartoon, Space Ghost.
Yes.
Originated
Yes.
in 1966,
Dude,
long before my
I
time.
only ever got to catch the reruns of that. Clearly, I wasn't even born
Yeah,
yet.
of course, me too.
But
All of
god
us.
damn, that original Space Ghost series was fucking
Just
awesome.
the coolest villains.
Dude, it was
Yeah.
so dope.
There's I mean, not to cut in again.
Sure, please.
But not just but like the Herculoids.
Oh, that definitely is going to be a close second.
'cause that's-
yeah.
They were like
they're,
mini.
they're the same
Yeah.
because they were both
Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera produced adventure cartoons. I think Herculoids were 67, but they were packaged in the same thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I didn't realize it at the time, though I definitely have realized it in my adult life, is that there was one artist who designed all of these shows, and it was Alex Toth, or Tooth, as I've heard it pronounced, even though I find that very awkward to my tongue. But however it may be, he designed Space Ghost and the Herculoids and Galaxy Trio,
so good.
all the
Yep.
Mighty Mightor, even though that clearly had a Kirby influence as well.
Yoy.
The Dino Boy cartoon, which was one of
Oh,
the spin-offs
yeah,
that went with
Yep.
it was Space Ghost and the Dino Boy cartoon, because I know I've just recently got the DVD collections
Yeah.
of Space Ghost and Herculoids, and I think it was Herculoids and I'm drawing a blank on what that side project was, but it doesn't matter. All of them are part and parcel, and to me it was the 1-2 punch of the great characterizations, the designs by
Yeah.
Toth, and I have all sorts of books on Toth now, and I fucking and clearly I aspired to draw that good as a kid, and now that I kind of can, I still delight in the simplicity
Yeah.
and power of the designs. But then you get into the Herculoids, might as well jump into it now, and then you can jump into it, Chris. I mean, has there ever been a better concept of a cartoon ever? A family of humans, though not from Earth, living on a planet, first Asma and then eventually redefined as Quasar. I don't know, in the 80s iteration, befriends a bunch of fucking kaiju, a rock gorilla,
Yep.
a electrified dragon that shoots fucking beams out of its tail and eyes.
Yep.
Zoc, Igu was the fucking thing. Tundro, a 10-legged triceratops whose horn doubles as a
shot hot
molten-
rocks or
a
whatever.
molten cannon, yeah.
yeah.
And then fucking Gloop and Gleep, the classic Hanna-Barbera
Yeah.
trope of the schmooze, basically. And then you fight fucking alien invaders, indigenous problems,
Yeah.
hawk people, whatever the fuck is going on.
Yeah. Anything and everything.
It was, to me,
Love it.
I could not possibly continue to go. And granted, I liked my art lessons, and I was drawing like Molly Hatchet covers, and I was learning about perspectives, and all that was great. Sitting with my sketchbook and this was before the days of VCRs, just doing my best to draw iterations of the Space Ghost villains as a kid
yeah.
was my foundational training in art, and it shows in my cartoony ass style today,
Oh,
which
for
I
sure.
wouldn't trade for the world.
No, definitely.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so
Absolutely. Space
what
Ghost.
X-Files was to you in judo, Space Ghost was to me in art lessons.
There you go, dude. Fucking
And the
judo.
Herculoids.
Yeah, 100%.
Chris.
I mean, the obvious one for me is Transformers.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean,
was-
it's
Was that Saturday morning, or was that
again
after
well,
school?
it fell into that. Everything I think at one point was Saturday mornings, and then it just got rerun.
yeah,
like same thing with
maybe.
like
'Cause even
He-Man.
G.I. Joe would do that,
But
too.
yeah, even though
See, I
wa-
remember Transformers, G.I. Joe, and He-Man.
I did watch most of those after school.
exclusively as after
Sure.
schools. But that's okay. I'm fine with it.
No, a lot of these, but I mean that is.
but
the
of course,
but really,
if it's
I mean,
foundational.
most of my actual memories of Saturday morning cartoons are Looney Tunes.
Yes.
I remember
you know
a lot of
what?
those.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was just fucking. It was on for like a whole hour. Or
yeah,
something.
Sure.
it was. It's true.
Because that was always the inaugural part, the 8
Yeah.
a.m. to 9 a.m. part.
It was fucking like Smurfs,
right,
Yep.
something, and then you got a pile of fucking Looney Tunes.
right.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's other shit.
And I definitely
sprinkled in,
watched
but-
more Smurfs. What are the fuck Quarks? What the fuck were those?
Snorks.
Snorks.
Yeah.
Quarks. Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
god,
Those
the,
undersea
the fucking
fuck-offs.
Yeah.
knockoff fucking Smurfs, the
Yeah.
Snorks.
Yeah. I mean, Shirt Tails. Like I watched.
No, I much more of that shit that I.
No hour went unwatched.
Oh yeah, for
between
sure.
Yeah.
fucking Saturday Morning Showboat, which was our local.
Oh God, I know. I watched way more than that.
Well, God.
It was never good.
No, It was like set on a fake like paddle boat,
Ferry boat thing. Yeah.
and fucking and it just and
Is
local
that-
kids were put on in like bleachers, and I don't even fucking know,
What
but it
was
was
it
on
called?
7 to 8.
Yeah, Saturday Morning
Saturday
Showboat.
Morning
It was a
Showboat.
local thing. It was like Magic Garden. It was a local.
Yeah, Magic Garden was New York City, but this was like even more local.
Well,
Syracuse.
yeah. This was yeah.
Did
was
it have
more
like
regional,
witchy
but-
poo in it, or is that
No,
somebody-
my God, you're confusing it completely with Sid and Marty Croft, which is
You're-
a whole other breed.
Oh,
of
here's
fucking,
show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
there's a
would
point in
never
time where
do
just
that.
you had to choose. You knew like this show was on at the same time this show, and you had to pick.
Yeah.
But there's like if there's a chance Space Ghost was going to be on, I'm like, man, I'm going to have to
Yep.
keep switching back and forth because I want to
just
see.
in case. Yeah, 100%.
It sucked.
No,
And
I-
it sucked, but I love it.
like
But-
between Saturday Morning Showboat and fucking Monster Movie Matinee,
Man.
like to me, it was
I
just
did
like
make
all
sure that it was
cartoons
always
in
on.
between.
yeah,
All cartoons.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And then I would watch both local shows. Obviously, the horror movie showcase being much
Yeah.
more appealing towards the end. But yeah. No, I definitely dig it. There's all sorts of stuff. I gotta
I
say,
mean, so, yeah, there's a pile. It's just,
for later shows for me, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Oh,
mention that
I
one.
fell in love with
I
that show.
course
only
you
ever,
did.
obviously,
Of
only ever
course.
caught the reruns. I just looked that up because it came out in like '83.
Right.
So I was still
Yeah,
I was 3.
That was
Well-
my introduction to the concept of Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't even know it was a game.
Yeah,
I didn't
dude,
know Dungeon Master
I
was
loved that
a role one played.
that cartoon and like the reruns of it. I loved it, and
Oh,
I
no, it's
wanted
fucking
those
great.
figures so goddamn bad,
Sure.
so goddamn bad. Never got it, but yeah, classic.
I mean,
dude.
Fun Adventure, Tiamat, fucking. I don't even remember the one-horned bad guy. I don't even remember his name. I remember what
Venger.
he looked like. Venger.
Yes, yeah.
And the idea, too, I mean, this was such a classic 80s trope of you're just riding like a Tunnel of Love ride.
like a roller coaster.
and-
You come out in D&D land.
And you come out in D&D land
Yeah.
and you're all given
It's
a
a fucking
role.
portal.
Like
Yeah.
thief, fucking barbarian,
Yeah.
fucking whatever, sorceress.
Fucking Hank the
Yeah,
Ranger,
Cavalier,
Yeah.
which is they cut out after second edition.
Who was it?
The Cavalier.
Oh,
They
really?
cut that class out. Yeah.
No shit,
Mm-mm.
huh?
And I think the
Why?
squirrely
I mean,
fuck
they,
that
they
was...
cut out. Sorry, I
No, please, go ahead.
like the acrobat. Like that's not. It wasn't a class out in second edition.
No shit.
Cavalier was not.
Huh.
Yeah.
The squirrely fuck that played the
Weird.
Dr. Smith character, if you're going to refer back to Lost in Space, like the shady guy that's always thrown
Yeah.
under the bus because of his cowardice. I'm pretty sure, though I don't remember the name of the actor, Ralph the Mouth from Happy Days
Yeah.
voiced his...
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Not that it matters, but it was like great, medieval
Oh no, I
fantasy
can see
adventures.
that. Yeah, he did have that voice. Now that I
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
No shit.
I got it on DVD years ago when it first came out, and I haven't revisited it in 20 fucking years.
It's
I think it came out in
probably
2000.
fine.
It's fine.
You know,
It was fine then,
Yeah,
and I was a lot younger.
dude. Anytime if you got something that was fucking magic-y or swordy, I'm in.
You're
Like,
in.
I'm automatically fucking in. Or space, just
Which means we have to go to the next one, and I'm
I know what you're
wide
saying.
open. Please, Chris, deliver it.
Thundar.
Has to be.
It's
Yeah,
the greatest
dude.
combination
Yeah,
of sword and
Thundar.
sorcery
Yeah.
and sci-fi,
yeah.
mayhap ever. You're the hunter
Yeah.
from the future, but without the cheesy caveats of the actual Italian miniseries / motion picture that was made from it. As much as I love that and Reb Brown and all the chintzy bullshit that went along with it, this was just like, it was even random. It wasn't even 1999 like it usually would be. It was 1994. And a
You know,
comet
yeah, it was-
rips
yeah.
between Earth and the moon,
Yeah.
and the moon shatters, and everything's fucked. And guess what? Everything's fucked. And they don't make that better. 1,000 years later, or 10,000 years later, I don't even remember. Like a fuck ton of time goes by, and it's a world of science and super sorcery.
No, yeah, that's
We
in,
talked
in
about
the
it.
over voice, right?
Yeah,
In
the voiceover in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking and so you got a barbarian
Love it.
and a sorceress and Ukla the Mock, who's most assuredly Chewbacca as the day is long,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
going on adventures, and he hates wizards because he was a barbarian enslaved
Dude, yeah,
by a
he's
wizard.
always mentioning wizards. He's always like,
Hates wizards,
dude.
hates them.
And, like, and Thundar is a weird
Except,
amalgamation
yeah,
of
when,
like He-Man and Luke Skywalker.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's like what a weird.
Because the
like-
popularity of Star Wars, but it was pre He-Man, so it's actually a weird amalgamation of Luke Skywalker and Conan the Barbarian,
Ooh,
which
you're
makes
right,
it
it was.
even fucking
yeah,
stranger.
barbarian, right?
But yeah, and I love it. Every time they're riding through a place, they're riding through Paris or they're going through Tokyo the next day, like Pangea re-solidified
Yeah.
somehow
Yeah.
in the wake of it.
No, I love it.
And yet it's fucking really good. Like that holds up. Like I've watched an episode, I think Boomerang still shows him occasionally, and I've watched an episode not that long ago, and I'm like, yeah, I could watch this show again.
No,
I could watch the show again.
Oh yeah,
As a kid though,
just the art alone. I
it
mean,
was
I feel that way.
top-notch.
I feel that way about like He-Man, like the Masters of like the Universe. Like I watch that.
those cartoons.
Yeah, I watch them, dude.
They're not, dude. It's the same cell of He-Man like running from the
That's-
upper left.
I love
like,
the
into the
fact
right.
that he always runs like that, dude. It's fucking He-Man, you boob. I'm like, oh, dude.
I mean, that didn't matter. I loved it. I love the fact that
the
there were so
stories
many
are
characters.
not
Sure.
phenomenal.
You introduce a new
well,
character.
I mean,
fuck
it
yeah,
was
but-
like Transformers designed for a toy line.
The thing that's funny about this, though, right, especially with He-Man, and I'm a fucking huge He-Man nerd. I stopped buying the
I mean, me
toys because
too.
I had to. The supplemental comics that you would get with the figures
Yeah.
were way cooler than
Yeah,
any
yeah.
other
The
cartoon.
lore from the cartoon.
The cartoon, you're like, all right, whatever, dude. But reading the comics, you're like, this is
Well, they
some
had deeper
dark
lore for
shit.
sure. Yeah.
That's
this is
cool.
some real dark shit.
Because that shit just happened to come out right after the cusp of me being able to watch it, really. It's not to say I never saw an episode of He-Man, but,
right.
you know, because when you love animation, that die hard. I mean, especially in the 80s, you were supposed to fucking grow up and not watch cartoons. That is now,
Yep.
that idea is thoroughly abolished.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, adults can love animation, and
Yep.
I didn't even subscribe to it at the time. But I was at the point where, like, watching, like, I still watch Transformers after school because I'm not a fucking heathen. But I didn't, you know, like He-Man was a little like,
Nice.
meh, whatever. And so I never bought any of the toys either because I was, you know, as an adult, I've just never been a toy collector as much as I think it's dope as shit. But when I would flirt with it, I'd be like, oh, there could be something nifty in here.
The cartoon isn't great.
Right.
I love the figures and, like I said, my own lore and the stuff in the little comics way more
Sure.
than the
of course.
cartoon.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, kind of the same thing for Thundercats, I guess.
yeah,
Which I really love. The thing about the Thundercats, a lot of cartoons did this. They're one of them. That the intro, the song is a fucking banger.
oh, it's
The
fucking
the
best.
animation
It
in
is.
the intro was so fucking good.
So dope.
It-
And then you
Oh, I
watch
know.
it, and it's just
It
like,
just
Dude,
pales.
it's exactly.
oh, you know, what do you do?
Yeah,
It's like, I mean, it's not as bad as He-Man, but I'm just like,
No, but there's definitely more animation in the opening credits than in any six
well,
episodes.
they got a dope Korean animator to do a lot of these
Sure, of course.
opening and closing things to kind of suck you in, and you can tell because the hair's flowing and it's dope.
Well, that's
And then
why
the
we all
cartoons,
fell
like,
in love with
their
anime.
eyes way
Dude,
up here.
dude.
We fell in love with anime in the 80s, at least you and I, Chris, because fucking,
Oh,
and maybe you too, Mark. I know we never discussed it because
So good.
they were the ones. I mean, yes, they had limited animation too, but they fucking, like Vampire Hunter D or
Yeah,
Ninja
yeah.
Scroll or whatever. Like they were doing over the top shit all the way through.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
opposed to America, where you'd get like a really sweet opening credit sequence and then some standard ass Hanna-Barbera, real simple
Yeah.
animation.
Yeah.
Not as great. Galaxy Rangers was another one.
yeah.
All right,
Intro's
that
fucking
that is true.
banger.
Yeah.
The intro is mad banger, but I got to say, now I know we're dipping a little bit into after school cartoons. That to me still holds up as one of the more entertaining
No, I love that show.
adult
Yeah.
animated
Loved
like after school features. Like I loved Galaxy
Yeah.
Ranger. You're right. The opening credits were
Yeah, I'm
tits
just
up.
talking about shows that had the dupe of the opening.
Yeah, of course.
So I
Yeah.
thought that Voltron was a Saturday morning cartoon. Apparently, it wasn't.
No,
Yeah,
not
I don't.
my-
I don't remember
like Battle
ever
of
watching
Planets,
that.
Voltron, all that shit was either preschool, post school.
Do you remember? And this is a fucking weird one that I'm looking up cartoons and it just came to mind. And I totally forgot about it. Was Tales from the Crypt Keeper?
Holy shit, I forgot about
Yeah,
that one.
dude, same. And probably
vaguely
for a
remember anything
reason.
about that.
I remember being. I mean, I just remembered. I'm just looking it up, and I'm like, holy shit! I kind of remember that. Like that's like, dude. Here's a banger that everyone can fucking agree: Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, that was great.
The first, dude, that was unfucking.
Yeah,
Agreed. When
believable.
that first came. All right, if we're going to, I mean, we're probably spoiling ourselves for a future episode because I was going to do alternate fucking. But if we're going to talk about like fucking after school cartoons that kicked ass, obviously, I don't want to like, I want to go back to Batman. But like the Animaniacs.
Oh, I
fucking
loved
changed the
Animaniacs
game.
was fucking
Pinky and the
Yeah, that
fucking
was
brain.
Darkwing Duck.
Dude,
come
Darkwing Duck, I
on.
was
Come on.
addicted to that fucking
dude,
show.
I was too.
He said the dumbest shit
Oh,
sometimes.
dude, I even liked the
Like, oh my
Scrooge McDuck
God.
one. Whatever, like
Sure.
Scrooge was awesome, dude. And that was like such
Fucking,
a.
I watched the Rescue Rangers.
I love the
It was
Rescue
so,
Rangers.
I mean, they're all weird pilots in, I
Yeah.
don't know, some tropical place. I don't even fucking
they
know.
were squirrels for Christ's sakes.
And
Yeah.
Baloo got a fucking second job.
Yeah,
Good for him.
dude. It's funny those cartoons, especially.
Or maybe
like,
I'm confusing the Baloo one with the Rescue Rangers. What was the one where Baloo was like a fucking fighting smugglers on his fucking plane? Was that a different cartoon from fucking
that was
Rescue Rangers?
I think. I'm pretty sure.
I don't even know.
I don't know.
I'm looking it up right now.
This was definitely
I don't have a lot of lore.
mid to early 90s. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I do remember like Batman the Animated Series because it went back to that. Well, it claimed to go back to that Kane style, but really the Kane style was fucking hyperbolic and comedic. So it really wasn't. It was going back to an old school noir 40s style that Batman in the comic book never actually had.
Yeah, no, never.
That didn't even start happening until the 70s with like Neil Adams and stuff. And I don't know which writers were there for it. So it really went for like a austere 40s noirish redux of Batman. And that to me was the kind of reboot our generation needed.
Oh, dude!
To just believe in him. I mean, it wasn't grim like Miller, but it was.
No, but it's
serious.
It took it like deadly.
Yeah,
like any fucking half-hour drama show or something you would watch. It was just good writing.
Yes,
it was just
absolutely. With some of the Bob Kane and Bill Finger aesthetics.
Fucking Mark Hamill as the Joker.
He was great.
Shit.
Who knew?
And that series serves as the introduction for Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah, it did.
That was like the first time she ever.
So she appeared in the series before the comic books.
Yeah, yep. She's dropping from.
You know what's funny? This is how fucking old and staunch I am because I was obviously. This is at the point where I'd already stopped collecting comic books, which is so ancient. It's weird to think. I had stopped collecting comic books, and when I saw her, I was like, all I could say over and over in my head was like, non-canonical. Now she is so entrenched in Batman mythos, you couldn't take her out, nor would I want her to. Nor after what James Gunn has done with her,
she's
would I ever want to see it disappear.
Yeah.
But like for the longest time, I'm like, really? A doctor with an absurdly Brooklynese accent falls in love.
Mr.
Like,
J.
And I'm just like, you've got to be. Now they've done wonders with the character since.
The Harley Quinn show on HBO is fucking awesome. It's a cartoon series. It's an adult cartoon
dating
series.
Poison Ivy.
Fucking so good, dude. It's
I haven't seen it.
So much fun.
It seems like it has the same art style though as the original.
Kind of does
the Batman
a little
show.
bit, but it's really fucking good, dude. It's really good. Yeah,
I'm sure.
All right, man. Well, there it is.
Shit.
Saturday morning cartoons. Shit. I'll leave
and beyond.
I'll leave your comments in the section below. Let us know what cartoons you were into on Saturday mornings. And yeah, man. Oh, this one came up. I totally forgot about it. This piece of shit. The Wildcats. Remember the Wildcats cartoon?
No.
Exactly.
Oh, I vaguely remember them doing it, but it was
they use the same animation style as the X-Men cartoon, and it was dog shit.
Really?
It's a deep dog shit.
I mean, there's plenty others we could get into, and obviously we should probably save them, but
for sure.
I got to throw one more out there just for shits and giggles, because I loved the tie-in toys. Well past my fucking prime of collecting toys. The Inhumanoids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Environmentally themed.
Yes.
When I was younger, I think I confused them with Mask a little, but fucking we should table all that because we're going to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
But those fucking tie-in figures were about the size to be compatible with fighting with a Milton Bradley.
Oh yeah, dude, I remember these. These
fucking
were
Godzilla.
Awesome,
not Milton Bradley. What's Mattel?
Godzilla.
And fucking, but they weren't quite big enough. But I remember, like, my buddy had a bunch of them, and I was living in his basement because God knows I was lucky enough to have good friends that didn't let me be homeless. And so we took his parents' Super 8 camera and we started making stop motion animation films of these things because these creatures were fucking awesome.
Dude, they're so dope.
But we'll table that because that's after school cartoons for another day.
Excellent. All right, cool. Well, there you have it. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Peace out. Fucking the cartoons. We're having fun tonight.